Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth. I'm surviving on top of the line.
Well, it happened in a federal courthouse in Miami, Florida today. Former President Donald Trump was arrested and charged with 37 counts under the Espionage Act. He pleaded not guilty. After the proceeding, which was closed off to reporters and cameras, a Trump legal spokesperson, Alina Habba, when asked, "How is the president feeling?" her response was simple: defiant. She went on to say, "We are at a turning point in our nation's history. The targeted political prosecution of a leading political opponent is the type of thing you see in dictatorships like Cuba and Venezuela. It is commonplace there for rival candidates to be prosecuted, persecuted, and put into jail. What is being done to President Trump should terrify all citizens of this country. These are not the ideals that our democracy is founded upon. This is not our America." Of course, leading up to this, President Trump has been extremely defiant and aggressive in tone regarding the prosecutor. Now, when he gets back the White House in 2025, it's retribution time. Basically, he's letting Joe Biden, the Clintons, and the Washington inside elite oligarch know. No more playing nice. No more trying to, once the campaigning is over, dial it back and get on with the business of governing. No, this time, really am going to drain the swamp, and I'm coming for you. Now, this, of course, on the one hand, will make the ruling elite just laugh and seethe at the same time. They'll just double down their efforts to make sure that he doesn't get back to the White House. And if he does, it'll be interesting to see how much they have weaponized the DOJ and the FBI and the other alphabet agencies, that even as the sitting president, how defiant they will be against any directives he issues. Remember, it was while he was president and he was trying to bring back our troops in a peaceful, orderly way from the Middle East. It was Nancy Botox Pelosi and the Democrats on Capitol Hill saying the commander-in-chief can't just order the troops home. Yeah, according to the Constitution, he can. And so it was Nancy Botox Pelosi and the Democrats on Capitol Hill basically telling the military leaders, just lie. Just tell him if he says bring 5,000 home, send 1,000 home and tell him it was 5,000. He'll be none the wiser. I mean, these people literally have actively engaged in the encouragement of literally defying the orders of the commander-in-chief. So, should President Trump return to the White House, what is the likelihood he would actually be able to bring these people like Joe Biden, because of his son, the grift, the bribes, and all that went on there regarding Burisma, the fact that Joe Biden took bribe money and he now defiantly laughs, then where is it? We know who the real criminals are. And right now, you as an American citizen ought to be angry. Because again, Donald Trump, as president, has the full authority to declassify any record he so chooses to declassify. So to even say that he has classified materials in his home is bullhock and nonsense. He has the complete unabridged authority to declassify. And it's interesting to note, there is not a detailed procedure how a president is supposed to go about that. In other words, anyone who's the president can basically just say, yeah, that's declassified, yeah, that's declassified, yeah, that's declassified. And that's that. There's no committee this has to go through. There's no voting that has to take place. There's no notification process that has to take place. There's no actual written out procedure. This is how it's done, and this is what must be done in order for the president to declassify. They want this done now. They want to drag this out during the 2024 election process. This will be their smoking gun for October of 2024, a guilty verdict. This is Joe Biden directly interfering and tampering with the election process. But of course, we're not supposed to talk about something being, quote, rigged. But that's exactly what this is. And any of these liberals or rhinos or so-called political commentators talking about, oh, this is bad for the this is bad. No, he has the full authority to declassify anything he chooses to declassify, and he has the full authority to determine something is classified. If he had a favorite Chinese takeout place in Washington, D.C., he liked his food purchased from and brought to the White House. If he kept that menu in his desk drawer and said that menu is classified, it is for my eyes and my eyes only, then he literally has the authority to classify as top secret the menu from the Chinese takeout restaurant down the street. That's the kind of authority the president has. But you're now hearing them say outright that if he becomes president, they will defy his orders. Do you understand what's happening in this country? And you as an American should be angered and outraged because what's happening is the Clintons and the Obamas and the Bidens, they're sitting there and they're just kind of laughing like, I can't believe we're actually about to do this. We're about to literally bring this guy down. It's like the criminals laughing at the fact we've got an innocent guy and he's going to take the heat, he's going to take the rap. Because if there's no justice for them, then it's guaranteed there's no justice for you. If they are not going to be held by the full weight of the law for their actions and bear the consequences they deserve, if they can skate and pin it off on Donald Trump, how many of these investigations have we been through? We understand that Donald Trump, especially from the idea of the conservative Christian ideal, like so many people, is a flawed human being. Morally, when it comes to his relationship with other women, and yet investigation after investigation after investigation keeps coming up with nada, nothing. He hasn't broken any laws. He's not a spy. He didn't collude with Russia. And they impeach him over a phone call with Ukraine when it was Joe Biden who was receiving bribe money to get rid of the prosecutor who was going after Burisma. Remember when Joe Biden did this?
I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired.
Yeah, that prosecutor was going after Burisma, going after Hunter Biden for the money laundering that was taking place, that they were buying access to the then vice president. And the prosecutor was going after that. And Joe Biden shows up saying, Ukraine, you're not getting any aid from the United States unless this guy gets fired. He got fired. And the other part is, and the FBI finally had to cough up the letter that detailed the bribe. He got paid $5 million to have that done. It was a bribe from Burisma. The real criminal is walking around free and calling himself the sitting president of the United States. The other criminal cohorts the Hillary Rodham Clintons, the Barack Obamas. What they're doing right now is not about protecting Joe, it's about protecting themselves. So understand they are motivated to really circle the wagons. That's why James Comey is on board and James Clapper. It's why John Bolton is trying to run for president. It's why Mike Pence cut whatever deal he cut. And if they can't get Trump on these documents, the next indictment, even if they have to, it's a week before the election, is they will indict him for inciting a riot on J6, and Mike Pence will be their star witness to say, yes, he was careless and reckless. You got the Chris Christies out there on the campaign trail and other feckless rhino Republicans saying, yep, he brought this on himself. You got witness protection Romney saying you should have just given him back. It's all his fault. They're hoping that the average American pays so little attention to this that the drip, drip, drip coming from the rhinos and the so-called Republicans and the Mitch McConnells withholding any defense of the former president, withholding any endorsement of the former president, is read by the American people as, see, he's guilty. His own party knows it. It's another classic frame-up. God bless Donald Trump for standing strong and standing defiant. We need to stand strong. We need to stay focused. And we need to make sure he gets reelected.